Hold it. I hate to interrupt Mick Jagger like that, but come on, that stuff will turn your mind to mush anyway. I got something for you now that can change your life, but you're going to have to listen and you're going to have to think for yourself.
Word says that Jesus asked his disciples, who do men say I am? Some people think that I'm just a good thing, but who do you say I am? Do you know what you think? Have you thought it for yourself? Are you sure that it's true? Did you hear from someone else? Think for yourself. 'Cause God gave a mind to you. Think for yourself. Don't let your friends do the thinking for you. Think for yourself. Think for yourself. Don't let your friends do the thinking for you. Think for yourself.
Well, rock and roll isn't just music. It's a way of life. It says to have fun and don't worry about tomorrow. I mean, to hell with everything else.
Rock and roll. Its $15 billion annual income makes it easily the most successful endeavor in entertainment history. In the United States, record sales each year are larger than the combined grosses of motion pictures, television, professional sports, and theater. Coupled with vast improvements in recording technology and the advent of rock videos, rock movies, and the fantastic overnight success of MTV and other rock television programs, its dominance seems only to be increasing. Today's music is shaping our society in an unprecedented way, but most of us have never stopped to consider its implications, or even to consider what music is and what music can do. Psychologist Dr. George Stevenson, in his book, Music and Your Emotions, said, "The widespread occurrence of music among widely distributed peoples and varied cultures is evidence that in music we have a great psychological force." The ancient philosopher Plato said, "When modes of music change, the fundamental laws of the state change with them." Aristotle, a contemporary of Plato, believed so strongly in the power of music that he felt that all music for the young should actually be regulated by law. Lenin, the father of the Russian Revolution, said, "One quick way to destroy a society is through its music." Now, most of us aren't used to talking about music in such expansive terms, but over the years, rock musicians have noted music's profound impact on its listeners. Rock idol Jimi Hendrix told Life magazine in 1969, "Music is a spiritual thing of its own. You can hypnotize with music, and when you get people at the weakest point, you can preach into the subconscious what we want to say." Hendrix was satisfied that he could control minds through his music. That power is recognized by Dr. Howard Hansen of the Eastman School of Music, who said, "Music has power. Music can be soothing or invigorating, ennobling or vulgarizing, philosophical or orgiastic. It has the powers of evil as well as for good." In this video, we want to examine this power and see if it can't point the way in our search for God.
Mama killed a chicken, she thought it was a duck. She put it on the table with his legs sticking up. Papa broke his glasses when he fell down drunk. Tried to drown the kitty cat, turned out to be a skunk. You gotta watch what you're doing. Didn't you know? Yeah, you gotta watch where you're going. Didn't you know? I know a girl, sweet as could be, but she fell for a man like a chainsaw tree. She listened to his lies, fooled by his charm. Now she's sitting with a baby in her arms. You gotta watch what you're doing. Didn't you know you gotta watch what you're doing? You ought to know that. You gotta watch out. Watch out! Everything's fine till things get bad. Then you sit around thinking about the good times you had. But it ain't no good to lead a life of sin. If you don't shape up, you know you never get it. You better watch what you're doing. And don't you know, you ought to know where you're going. Do you know? Some folks smile, they seem alright. You later find out they was an angel of light. Try to love everybody, but don't be blind. Cause some kind of people try to mess your mind. You gotta watch who you know. Yeah, some folks say that the good Lord said that it doesn't exist that's inside your head. I wonder how many gonna be surprised when they look straight up and see him coming through the skies. You gotta watch what you're doing, don't you know? Cause he does, yeah. You know he watches what you're doing. Yes, he does. You better know where you're going.
Most people don't know that the Bible gives an account of the origins of music. Genesis tells us that Noah's relative, Jubal, one of the early ancestors of mankind, was the father of those who play the lyre and the pipe. That becomes especially interesting when we examine what the name Jubal means in Hebrew. Old Testament names had meaning that was reflective of that person's character as well as their position in history. Jubal means to spring forth abundantly. In other words, it was during the days of Noah that music became a vast, organized force. This is particularly relevant to us because of what Jesus had to say about the characteristics of the age in which he would return. Matthew 24:37 says, "For the coming of the Son of Man will be just like the days of Noah. For in those days which were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, they were marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark. And they did not understand until the flood came and took them away. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be." In other words, the people at that time were so caught up with common everyday life that they were indifferent towards spiritual truth and totally unaware of what God was doing. 2 Timothy put it another way. In the last days, men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of pleasure, rather than lovers of God. Scripture tells us that despite clear and solemn warnings from God, the end of the age, like the days of Noah, will be marked by a great moral blindness, caused at least in part by the pervasive influence of music as a spiritual force. However, we don't have to go to the Bible to see that music is spiritual in nature. The word music comes from the Greek word muse, spirits that were supposed to be responsible for the inspiration of all art. It's not just the ancient Greeks who felt they were spiritually inspired. Joni Mitchell, the famous and talented folk jazz artist, in an interview with Time magazine was described as follows. She deeply believes in a male muse named Art, who lends her his key to what she airily calls the shrine of creativity. A striking example of spiritual inspiration is this quote by guitarist John McLaughlin. "One night we were playing and suddenly the Spirit entered into me, and I was playing, but it was no longer me playing." Or this quote by AC/DC guitarist Angus Young. "Someone else is steering me. I'm just along for the ride. I become possessed when I'm on stage."